Hello, and welcome to the Get Lean and Eat Clean podcast. My name is Brian Grin. I'm a certified health coach, trainer, and author. And this podcast is for middle-aged men and women looking to optimize their health and get their bodies back to what it once was 10 to 15 years ago. I will give you simple, actionable items to get long-term sustainable results. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. All right. Welcome to the Get Lean, Eat Clean podcast. My name is Brian Grin. I hope you had a great weekend. It is cold here in Chicago, but hopefully this week it's going to warm up a bit. And hopefully you're getting some sun and getting outside. I'm still going for walks with my dogs, even though I almost fall on my butt every time because it's so icy, but it is what it is. Anyways, I hope you had a great weekend and listened to my interview with Jake Steiner regarding all about eyes and how you can improve your eyes. I think this is something that doesn't get talked enough about. So it was an intriguing interview and something that is totally different than what we've talked about in the past on the podcast. So hopefully you can enjoy that interview and get some tips to improve your eyesight. Because as a golfer, that's something that's really important for me. So anyways, today I want to talk about strength training and can it reverse aging. We always hear about every technique in the book regarding anti-aging. There's a lot of supplements that come out about it. We're not going to really get into that, but I wanted to pull up a study that was done in 2007. And it's an interesting study. I'm going to give you the summary of it. But the main thing that it talks about is how really, if you do resistance training, even as an older adult, it shows that there's some gene expressions that can be changed. So just to recap, we all have hundreds of thousands of mitochondria in our body, and they exist actually in great quantity, especially in our most active organs, such as like muscle, heart, and your brain. And the reason individuals age faster is because of constant sort of infliction and injuries to the mitochondria. And how does this happen? Well, this could happen from chronic stress, lack of sleep, poor eating choices, like processed foods, lack of exercise, particularly lack of strength training, alcohol, tobacco, exposure to pollutants as well. So these are all reasons how our lifestyle can influence the function of our mitochondria. And mitochondria are these organelles responsible for energy production in the body. So if you're always feeling tired, maybe experience memory loss, if you have frequent muscle pain, so if you're always taking medications for like cholesterol, hypertension, diabetes, any chronic disease, you've probably burned out mitochondria a bit, and they're not in great shape. So one of the things that you can do, and hopefully if you're not resistance training, maybe after I talk to you about this study, you will start doing it. Essentially, this was in 2007. This was actually the first human study to demonstrate that strength training can actually reverse aging at a molecular level. And so just to summarize, the researchers recruited 25 healthy elderly people. The mean age was 68, and they already did some type of exercise, but like walking, gardening, tennis, golf, cycling, things like this, 3 to 4 times a week. And then they took 26 young adults, and the average age was about 24. So you got the 68-year-olds against the 24-year-olds. And these 24-year-olds were relatively inactive, some of them participating in like recreational activities. So the authors selected relatively active older adults and sedentary young adults in order to study sort of the aging process on like the healthy elderly versus, maybe like the sedentary young person. So they went through this screening process and this medical evaluation before participating in the study. And so what the bottom line was, the author, after it was done, identified 596 genes that were differentially expressed between the two age groups. Of the 596, the researchers identified 179 associated with age and exercise that showed a remarkable reversal in their expression profile after 6 months of resistance training. This literally means that resistance training can not only slow down, but it can actually reverse the aging process at a genetic level. So the genetic expression of the elderly individuals became similar to those of the younger group. So they actually turned back the clock here. The researchers also noted that the mitochondrial dysfunction, which was closely related to physical inactivity, began to reverse after 6 months of training. Pretty remarkable. And as for muscular strength, results were this. The ones who strength train got stronger. Okay, obviously. The initial gap of 59% of isometric strength in the older adults versus the young adults was reduced to 38% after 6 months. So what it's saying is that there was this big gap in strength between the younger and the older sort of closed that gap and almost like caught up a bit to the 24-year-old group. So pretty much this study demonstrated for the first time that resistance training can reverse age-related aspects at the gene level. So pretty remarkable. Like I said, the fact that the older people got stronger was no surprise, and certainly not for obviously someone like myself who's in fitness. I'm not surprised they got stronger. And really, they dedicated themselves for 6 months. So if this is something that, it's like you say, it's never too late. And this is really showing the fact that it's never too late to start strength training. I don't care if you've never touched a weight in your life. You can start with a 2-pound weight, or not even that. You can start with your body weight and do many progressions. Even if you can't do push-ups, you can do push-ups against the wall and then progress from there. So all I'll say is this: if there's a fountain of youth out there, it's strength training. And hopefully you're not missing the boat on that, because it doesn't matter what age you're at. If you've been sedentary your whole life or just walked and gardened or whatever, perhaps it's time to maybe, get into the weight room. You don't even need to get into the weight room. You can do this stuff at your house. If you listen to a lot of the podcasts, I really talk about the X3 bar, which honestly, they should be a sponsor of this show. Maybe I'll work on that. But that's a great place to start, resistance training with variable loads with bands. And that's why I like the X3. There's some other systems out there, but that's what I've been using. So anyways, this is pretty cool. Obviously, you want to do other areas of life. You want to focus on, obviously, sleep and stress and things like that can affect your mitochondria. But strength training can really go a long way. And it just shows that these elderly people who were the average age of 68 pretty much closed the gap on the 24-year-olds. So it's never too late to strength train. And hopefully this will help motivate you to get out there and start doing it. If you have any questions, let me know, brian@briangrin.com. And have a great rest of the week and stay warm if you're up in Chicago. I will talk to you later. Thanks so much for listening. Hey, Get Lean, Eat Clean Nation. Are you a man between the ages of 40 and 60 years old looking to lose inches around your waist, have significantly more energy throughout the day, and gain muscle, all while minimizing the risk of injuries? Well, I'm looking for 3 to 5 people to work one-on-one with in my Fat Burner Blueprint Signature program, which I've developed by utilizing my 15 years experience in the health and fitness space. This program is designed specifically for those committed to making serious progress towards our health goals over the next 6 months. We will focus on sleep, stress, nutrition, meal timing, and building lean muscle. If this sounds like a fit for you, email me at brian@briangrin.com with the subject line Blueprint. That's brian@briangrin.com with the subject line Blueprint. Thanks for listening to the Get Lean, Eat Clean podcast. I understand there are millions of other podcasts out there, and you've chosen to listen to mine, and I appreciate that. Check out the show notes at briangrin.com for everything that was mentioned in this episode. Feel free to subscribe to the podcast and share it with a friend or family member that's looking to get their body back to what it once was. Thanks again, and have a great day.